Hello, my name is Luis Rodriguez Alvarez. I'm a building system technician in the FOD HVAC shop at The Ohio State University.
And my name is Mike Pilatus. I'm also a building systems technician in the FOD HVAC shop at The Ohio State University. And today we're going to go over the proper procedure for cleaning a condensing coil.
Remember, safety first. Lock out, tag out.
Correct.
So I'm getting ready to lock out, tag out this equipment, and in order to make sure that the equipment is de-energized, I'm going to verify that my voltage is completely disconnected from the equipment. So by doing that, I'm going to open this box right here, and I'm going to, obviously it's off right now, and I'm going to verify that my voltage coming from my line side is not going through the switch and going to my load side and energize the equipment. So by verifying that one accurately, I'm going to turn this meter on, and I'm going to test the leads first, going to my ground here and going to the line side on one of the connectors, and then going to the other side. So I got 120 volts coming in, and then coming out I got practically nothing in there, like 126 volts. That tells me that there's no voltage going through the device, and I'm ready to just close this and then tag it and lock it. So before we proceed with the clean coil procedure, we are going to remove the top cover and the sides. After that, we're going to remove the screws and put them aside. So I'm getting ready to remove this plastic mesh, which prevents debris and trash to get into the coil. So it's like the kind of a first barrier to it. And by way of doing that is just cutting these plastic ties over here, and that's it. Before we proceed to clean the coil, we do a quick inspection of the condition of the fins in the coil, and we sometimes bump into issues with the fins in the coils. So to correct those problems, we have these fin fix combo set here, and we can use these to actually fix the fins that have been. In this particular case, I have different sizes, different fins for these coils. So I'm going to try to match the one that actually will allow me to execute the job properly. So in this case, I'm just going to go there and then straighten them up just like that. Then all the way up.
Okay, so there's a couple different ways to apply our chemical to our various coils. My preferred method, and the one we will be using today, is a coil gun. The coil gun has a set ratio that is adjustable on the top with settings A, B, C, and D, A being the highest ratio and then D being the weakest. And then it also has a straight water option for just rinsing your coil, so you don't even have to take the gun off of the hose connection. It has a quick connect hose nozzle. Pretty nice, pretty convenient. Another option would be a pump sprayer, and a pump sprayer is good, but the difference here is you need to worry about the ratio yourself. So you need to add the chemical and mix the water, then pump and spray down the coil. Along with that, you're gonna have to have a separate hose out there and ready to go so you can rinse the coil with an actual hose nozzle. This is a product where you just buy the solution, connect your hose to the end. It has the option of coil solution or rinse and off. So it's similar to the gun, but you can't change the ratio on this one. And then you have aerosol condenser coil cleaner or evaporator cleaner, nicer for smaller units and tight spaces. The two types of solution that you'll typically use are a detergent-based solution, which would typically be on air handler coils, chilled water, preheat coils, even reheats. The reason why you're going to use that detergent, and also on your evaporators, the reason why you're going to want to use that is because that air is going to be exposed to humans. The condensing coil we use is alkali-based, so it's not like ridiculously strong, but strong enough that you don't only want to use it on an outdoor coil where you won't be exposing it to other people. you always want to make sure you're wearing gloves, something that's non-permeable with respect to water and the chemical, and safety glasses while mixing and applying these and rinsing these solutions. So I have my neoprene gloves on. I like to put a second glove over top of it just to protect the neoprene. They're kind of delicate, they'll tear. Once I have the gloves on and the safety glasses, we're going to go ahead and remove the top from the coil gun canister. We're going to add the chemical directly to the canister. Now this is the point where, because of the style we're using, we don't have to worry about a ratio of mixing the water with the chemical. The ratio will be determined by the set point on the nozzle on top, which I will show you once we have this filled up. And then, you know, it's no big deal if you overfill this canister. What you don't use, you can always just pour back into the condensing coil canister. Now that we have our top on, we can adjust our dial to whatever setting we need for what we believe is the appropriate mixture for this coil. Okay, so our coil gun will do the mixing of the water with the chemical based on the ratio we set. The current mark we're on there is just straight water. As you adjust over, E will be the lightest amount of chemical added, and then it goes from E to A. A would be the highest mixture of chemical. So for demonstration purposes, we'll just go ahead with a heavy mixture on this video. So we have our hose turned on with the water. We have a quick connect hose fitting, goes straight onto the coil gun. On the back side, we've already removed the condensing fans. We've also put a bag over top the electrical components just to protect them. And now we're ready to begin cleaning the coil. You just want to make sure the solution goes on nice and even. We're going to leave this solution on anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. What we will see as it sets, you'll see the foam start to actually push any dirt and debris that's in the coil out of the coil. And now we'll go on to the back side. We're going to let this solution sit on the coil for 5 to 10 minutes and let that push the dirt and debris that's between the fin tubes out.
So Mike, why are we actually cleaning this coil?
Condensing coils need cleaned because what they need to do is dissipate heat. And all coils are what?
Heat exchangers.
So if you have a clogged heat exchanger, you're not going to be able to exchange heat very well, correctly?
Correct.
So once we get this coil clean, we'll have a more efficient system. An inefficient system could lead to high head pressure, which could lead to eventually wearing out the compressor early and excessive fan use, so wearing out fans and fan motors early.
Correct. Do you think a rainy day will be better to clean the coil since it's already raining and it might be?
A light mist you might be able to get away with, but a heavy rainy day you wouldn't want to do because you need to leave the coil cleaner on the coil long enough to clean it. And also on a windy day, which would typically also be a heavy rainy day, you don't want to be spraying this cleaner at all because the wind could potentially spray it back into your face. And while it's not a big deal to get a little bit of the cleaner on your hands, so long as you rinse it off with water real well, you don't want to be doing it in a situation where you can't control the application.
I saw you remove the condenser fan blades. Would that be something that will allow me to probably work better or get them out of the way? Or
it's going to be easier for you to work with it that way, but there's certain instances where, like, if you had the smaller wand, you'd be able to get in behind there and not worry about the blades. It's really just more of like whether or not you want to deal with the hassle of pulling the blade or the hassle of getting around it with the cleaner.
Hey Mike, it's been 10 minutes already. I think we're getting ready to rinse this coil.
Let's go ahead and do it.
Great.
So now that we're ready to rinse the coil, one thing you do want to take into consideration is that you need to get all the solution off of the coil. If you don't get all the cleaning solution off the coil, it's still going to be considered dirty and not have adequate heat transfer. Our gun has just that water setting. We don't even need to pull the solution out of the canister. It's just going to straight water onto the coil in a controlled flow. so it's ideal for this application. Let's go ahead and start rinsing. The longest part of this process probably will be for any application, the rinsing of the coil, because it's important to like thoroughly flush that coil out. So patience is a virtue in this aspect. Coil like this, I'd expect at least 15 minutes of flushing.
Well friends, this concludes our condenser coil cleaning video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys learned something from it.
If you have any further questions, feel free to contact Louise or myself, or get in hold with your supervisor. What do you say we go ahead, button this thing up and get some lunch?
Let's get it.